legendary. Let's get them rolling. Legendary. I'm legendary. Yeah.
Inspiration comes from a couple of places. I think that the biggest thing for me right now is being told what not to do. As a stroke survivor, growing up, kids is mean, and even some adults are mean, and I was just constantly, told, and it was driven in me, you can't do this and you can't do that. So my biggest inspiration is not only removing that can't from my life, but for every disadvantaged youth in urban America's life as well. Don't take this the wrong way, but I'm waiting for the community to impact me. I want to bring back the unity in the community. I mean, if you look at community, you break it up in two words. It's calm and unity. We're not talking to each other. So therefore, we can't build unity. So I think that the biggest impact that I can make is bring back a sense of community. It takes a village to raise a child. It sounds cliche, but like when I got in trouble, Miss Jeannie could whoop me. Then when my mom got home, she found out that Miss Jeannie whooped me. I'm gonna get a whooping because Miss Jeannie had to whoop me. And now it's no community. Like, we faced with so many problems in America, and we don't care unless it comes to our doorsteps, and that has to stop. So right now, my impact I want to put in or bring back to the community is community itself. I want us talking again. I want us united again, because if you look at most problems, in America, or even in urban America, or even Detroit, where I'm from, there's no one riding out together. We got a problem. If you get people in your block club together, we go override that problem. You don't like your city council person, you can fix that. You don't like the mayor, you can fix that. You don't like the school district where you at, you can fix that. You don't like the response times for police, you can fix that. But if it's no community, if we not talking to each other and we don't unify, come together, then it's not going to get fixed. It's going to be the same broken record all over and over again. There's going to be one person talking about what they should have did, or what they could have did, or would have did, but never do. So my impact is just to bring back that vibrant spirit of community. Let's get us talking again. Even if I know I say some outlandish things on Facebook, I don't care, because you're talking about it. You know what I'm saying? People call me insane, and I might say, you know what, you may be right. But so be it. So my impact on the world is, for that disadvantaged child, for that child that was told what they couldn't do, is to mentally free them. Like, listen, you've always been capable of doing this, and here's how. For they get that self-esteem back. I'm not a Cat Williams fan by far, but the one thing I will ride with that he said is that self-esteem begins with you. But, a lot of kids, even some adults, lose sight of that. And I just want to be that constant reminder, like you have everything within you need to be successful. You have everything in you need to be legendary. Janelle Hearns is legendary. I have to go, and hopefully y'all won't cut me like the like it's a word show, but I have to put the whys in this. First and foremost, Nelson Mandela. What he did and what he stood up for will be long felt way after his life expires. After that, I have to go with President, Barack Obama. He made history, and for me, he's like the real life Cosby Show in person. Jay-Z, and then I would go with Denzel Washington, and then last but not least, I would go with Jonathan Parks. Life is the best adventure that we have for free. Throughout the ups and downs or whatever it goes through, it's like the best ride. It's a smorgasbord. It's a buffet. You get so many different things, thrown at you. And my viewpoint is, don't dislike something because you haven't experienced it. Like, experience it all. Take it all in. If you dislike something, let it be because you tried it. Life makes you strong. It takes you through every great emotion. You laugh, you cry, you think, all because of, life. I fought for mine, so I was 18 months, had a stroke, paralyzed, couldn't talk. People could have just, wrote me off and, tossed me away. So the beautiful thing for me is almost like it's a second chance. I'm still on that first life, but on a second chance. It sounds odd, but only only this can make that happen. You know, so just enjoy the ride. Strap in and go through the ups and downs. In most cases, and I tell my students too, it's usually throughout life when you're the most uncomfortable, it's when you're learning something. When we're the most comfortable, like we in our ground, we in our zone, like, oh yeah, I could deal with this, boom, whatever. But when we're the most uncomfortable, that's when like we're really, really learning something. And that's when we need to slow down and listen to what life is saying.
So what do you do with those kids?
Right now, I'm a motivational speaker. In the past, I did pre-college programs and I ran a federal grant to help underserved kids get to college. My current position is kind of different. I'm over school operations for a couple of charter schools in the metropolitan area, Flint and Saginaw. So I'm like becoming like a urban education guru. 18 months I had here's a funny story. 18 months I had the stroke. And so my left side, stroke happened on my right side, so my left side was affected, so I was paralyzed. So my grandmother, she came and she prayed for me every night, and the pastor at that time. The funny thing, she said the first time I crawled, I crawled to the nurse's desk. The first place I went, I crawled to the nurse's desk. I married the nurse. You know what I'm saying? So going up through the K through 6 system, I spent a lot of time at Children's Hospital. So I had to learn how to talk again and walk again. So in Children's Hospital, I was in my zone. You know what I'm saying? Because I saw other kids like me, so I felt normal. When I wasn't at Children's Hospital, kids reminded me that I wasn't normal. So, I had low self-esteem. Like my self-esteem was so shot. It's back in the day, we'll ask people to go with the yes or no box. Like I had the no box already checked. You know what I'm saying? So, it wasn't until middle school, I went to Cervity Middle School. Historically, the worst middle school ever in the 90s. I'll put that on record. Like, you make it through Cervity, you can make it through anything. And the first day of school, the gang approached me like, join that gang, we're gonna beat you up. But then the rival gangs had the same thing. So I joined the basketball team. Never played sports a day in my life, but I was always tall. So I got into sports to avoid gang activity. Then that became my anti-drug. Still sucked though. And middle school, giving you the quick version, I don't want to bore you. Got to high school, had to run cross country. And the coach was like, you got to run 10 miles if you want to play basketball. And the first thing I said was like, I can't. And then he was like, you play basketball? I was like, yeah, but that's different. He was like, no, it's not. Running's running. So I got on the cross country team, but we did it for conditioning, and I still sucked. But I noticed that I kept on saying that I can a lot. I can't do this, I can't do that. I was using what I thought was a disability as my crutch. Like, oh man, leave me alone. I can't do that. So then by 10th grade, I got fed up with it very quick. And then I laddered in 3 sports. I laddered in varsity that year in all 3 sports: basketball, track, and cross country. With my leg being, how it was. So like for every race, I used to call it my money leg. For every race, I used to, just rub my leg, and I ran the 400. And I went to the state regionals in the 400. The sixth fastest time out of a field like 35 people. So then that just, type of self-esteem just carried over and just, helped me become the person, I am today. So when I be seeing anyone like if you're in bad situations, I'm like, you can bounce back from that. It ain't the end of the world. Like, so what? Everybody wrote you off and gave up on you. You can bounce back from that. So. real quick story. It was a funeral procession, and a girl was on the phone with her pops, and the girl was like, "Oh my God!" Her dad was like, "What?" She was like, I just saw one car, like one funeral car, and nobody behind it." And she said, "When I die, I want to be remembered. I want a whole line of people at my funeral." I thought about that for a second. Like, man, like if I was to die, like who would come? You know? Like would I have like 5 people? Or would it be like 100 people? But not like just like 100, not like your 100 Facebook friends that don't really know you, but like that square root, you know, the people who really know you. Um, Got me thinking about that. And then there was a movie Jack Nicholson was in about Smith, and he had adopted this dude overseas, in Dooku, and he wrote him a letter. And in the end of the letter, he had said, in this big booming voice, like, "In Dooku, like, you know, when you die and all your friends die, unless you've made a difference in somebody else's life, it will be as if you've never lived." So with saying that, I don't care if it's one person at my funeral. If I made a difference in their life, I just want that one person to be there. If I'm fortunate enough to have 10 there, then you know, so be it. But whoever shows up, I just hope that my life was significant enough to them as pretty much that time of friendship was significant to me. I am Jonathan Parks, and I am becoming legendary.